Okay, so we're going to look at part I first. Pause the question if you want to have a go for yourself, otherwise solutions coming up now. So cubing a bracket is something I would expect you to be able to do. You start by squaring the bracket. And then you multiply by a final copy of the bracket. So we will put all three brackets together. And we are going to, inside these red brackets, expand two of our brackets, and we're going to leave that third bracket alone outside. Now we are going to expand. We're going to take the shortcut that we can take when we square a bracket, which is the two different terms multiplied by each other and then times by 2. So we get 12 root 5. It's 2 lots of 6 root 5. If we simplify that, we get 12 root 5 plus 29. Now we expand these two brackets to get our final answer. And we gather the surds and we gather the integers. So this first part was a nice little warm-up, I think. Yet the numbers are pretty horrible come the end of the question, but it's pretty straightforward and it sits nicely at the very top of GCSE in terms of the skill set required. Next, we're going to look at number 2, and there's going to be a link between number 1 and number 2, and it goes like this. If we cube both sides of the equation in 2, we get something that looks a lot like question 1, the cubed term. So what we're going to do is we're going to expand the right-hand side, we're going to cube it. It's nasty because we've got unknowns C and D in there, and gathering stuff together is going to just look really, really atrocious. So hopefully we don't run out of space on this corner of the screen, but we'll see what happens. So we start expanding these brackets. Okay, this is the difficult one at the end. We've got 2. The root 2's multiplied together to make another 2, which gives us 4 CD squared. Now, if we just look at those first 3 terms, they should add up to make our integer in our answer, so 99. Now, if I add them together, those two are the same like terms, so we can add them together. And I've taken out a factor of c. Now, the reason I've done this is that I know 99 can be expressed as 3 times 3 times 11, and c has to be a whole number. So we could try using 3 and see what happens. And if we do that, then 9 must appear where c squared is, and we need the whole bracket to be 33 if it's going to multiply together to make 99. And if we do this, then d comes out as positive 2. It says that d must be positive in the question, so we're using the positive number. Now, if we substitute 3 and minus 2 in place for c and d, and expand, we can just check that this is going to come out to our answer, and fingers crossed. Now if I expand this last one, what I'm doing is multiplying this bracket by this. So 3 times 17 gives me 51, minus 2 root 2 times minus 12 root 2 gives me 48. That's where the 99 comes from, and the two third terms add up as well. That was pretty tough. That was well above GCSE, and well done if you did it. Okay, so we're going to start by playing around with this equation, trying to solve it, and we're going to stumble across something that links us into part 2, and that's what makes this question nice and interesting. So if we're playing around a bit, we could maybe see the difference of two squares in the problem. 99 minus 1, which is 1 squared, well, that's going to be the same as 100 times 98. Because that's what the difference of two squares is. Okay, so if we multiply those together, we get 9800. If we square root both sides, well, I can see a 49 in there, which is going to square root to make 7, and also 100. So it's going to come out as 70 root 2 plus or minus 70 root 2. So x cubed equals 90 plus or minus 70 root 2. Now that should be familiar. We see it up here, and so we're going to make x equal the answer from our previous question. However, our previous question only had a negative in. What if we had a positive there? What do we do then? Well, if you go back and look through your working, the only difference is all of the third terms have a different sign, i.e. positive. So our two solutions are on the left-hand side of the screen.